Let me illustrate the situation. The victim was on the balcony, while the defendant's shot missed. Again, while there was a possibility that someone on the other side of the abyss fired the bullet, here, in this scenario, another possibility is born. I see. That's right. There's now a place on this diagram where the true killer could have stood. It's revealed to us thanks to this piece of information? Floor plan? Since we're looking at it? No, Justice. Come on, think. Place on this diagram where the true killer could have stood. Direction the shot came from? That the victim was shot somewhere in the lower right stomach area of the body. Don't know where specifically the bullet entered. This is the fact I'll ultimately have to use here. Looking at this diagram, but now exists the position where the killer could have been. On the other balcony? There's only one possibility. We've made the assumption that the killer had to have been facing the victim directly. However, what if that wasn't the case? What exactly do you mean by that? As I just said, we never established where specifically the bullet entered. A lot of directions would satisfy area around the stomach, after all. Could have been shot from the back, front, or side in this case. Side? Yes, Your Honor. And shooting him from the back would have only been possible by the defendant. That is assuming there was nobody else in the room, as Mr. Edgeworth suggests. That's your own client's word as well. The option of forward is only possible by the existence of a gunman on the other side. Something which I can't physically prove was the case. At last we agree on something, then. Hence, there's only one option left. The side. If you look at this diagram, there's only one position a shot like that could have been made from. Yes. The culprit was on the other balcony. Man, the crowd's really easily excited today. Shut up, Judge. Upon seeing the victim exit the study, they acted on their own murderous intentions. Using their own gun they'd brought beforehand, they took aim and shot Mr. Arts. Hold on just a second here. You're saying that we have yet another gun at play here. There would need to be, Your Honor. But what about ballistics? Ballistics? Yeah, you know, bullet fingerprints and whatnot. Where's the body? Where's the bullet? Your Honor. Every bullet can be traced back to a certain type of gun. Shut up. Why didn't anyone notice that the bullet of the victim did belong to the defendant's gun? Because we don't have the body. Dumbass. Your Honor, we don't have the body. The bullet is in the body. We don't have a bullet to compare anything to. You just wanted to be one of the cool kids. Stop it. You're not cool. Stop, Judge. Shut up. I actually have a bigger issue with Mr. Justice's explanation than the number of shots. Only one was heard that night, and it was the one that came from the study. It really was a second gunman, as you suggest. Why was his shot not heard? It's a very simple explanation for that. How much of this do you have figured out exactly? It's actually just a logical conclusion at this point. In this particular scenario, it wouldn't be something the culprit actually intended. It's still something that ended up serving to his advantage. Something happened which helped the culprit cover his shot. You have to be to pick Marston? Because Marston fell and hit his head? No. This. Not that. Not that. I think everyone should help the culprit cover his shot. Not the door. Nope. Alright, I'm literally running out of shit. Gone. Okay, why is that the case? It's possible that Mr. Marston's own shot helped cover the true killers. They occurred at the same time. One could have gone by unnoticed. That's a bit of a stretch, though. True. There's also another possibility. Killer could have simply used that, silencer? A silencer of some kind. In truth, it doesn't matter.
Objection!
That's hypothetical evidence, Justice. I'm merely providing an alternative explanation. Chances are the culprit managed to get rid of it after the crime. As such, I cannot present any physical evidence on that matter. But what matters is that, in the end, the defense firmly believes that there was somebody on the other balcony. The shot caused Mr. Arts to fall backwards, as described in Mr. Marston's testimony. Afterwards, the killer ran out to the other side of the mansion and rejoined the rest of the group. They'd up to that point probably realized that there was a gunshot in the study. They had the advantage of having a head start in the middle of everyone else's confusion. As such, they could have easily appeared to have wandered onto the scene.
Hold it!
I liked your sniper theory better, to be perfectly honest. This one is illogical and filled with obvious problems. However, I cannot explain the issue with the defendant's aim. For now, at least. So, I'm willing to hear you out. For now. So then, you are suggesting that the culprit is someone who was at the mansion? Yes, I am. Well, then you know what my next question is. Yeah, I do. Who? Who do you claim as the culprit of this case? And here I am. Moment of truth, I suppose. In air quotes, oh my. There are exactly 3 people I can accuse at this point. My first option is Mary. A person that met the victim sometime in the past. A person that also knows Mr. Marston. A person that managed to indirectly drag me into this mess. Second is the butler, Edmund Smith. A person that last saw the victim alive. Someone I described like your common slime ball. Guess he could fit the bill. And one more person. The third witness. A person that has yet to testify to this court. A person whose account of the events remains unknown at this time. Who of these people do I accuse? Do we accuse Mary? Do we accuse Edmund? Or do we accuse question mark, question mark, question mark? Well, I feel like there's an obvious answer as to who question mark, question mark, question mark is, so let's do it. My hands are shaking. Knees weak. The last is spaghetti. But I can do this. I won't let her destroy everything. I believe it. I won't let her walk all over the courts. It's time. Here comes justice. The defense accuses. Miss Athena Sykes. Yeah, pretty much knew that was coming. The third guest. Martin's testimonies added to the court record. Just literally a statement-by-statement account of Marston's testimonies. No need to re-show it. Miss Sykes. Yes? Your presence is required in the courtroom. About time, Apollo. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Hi, Apollo. Has this turned into an interesting mess or what? Answer his question, Sykes. I keep telling you that Athena is just fine, too. I mean, geez, you called that other woman by her first name. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Yeah, Athena Sykes, defense attorney. So, listen, I have a question, Apollo. Did you take this case because of little old me? Apollo? Don't get me wrong, it's flattering. But I'm honestly starting to think this is turning into an issue. Yeah, a little bit. You can say something, you know. I don't mind your voice. You. Ah, Mr. Wright, long time no see. Hey, I've been meaning to reach you, but I completely forgot your cell. Did you get the check? I mean, I don't want for Apollo's efforts to go unrewarded. Just shut up, just shut up, just shut up. Yeah, we got it. Well, talk to her, Mr. Wright. How's Trucy? It's Trucy, right? He's fine. I bet she is. I bet she is. Well, isn't this disappointing? Miss Sykes, I hope you are aware of the charges being brought against you. Yeah, I am. Kind of funny when you think about it, but... Hey, if I get to hear more of Apollo's amazing theorizing... And how do you respond to these charges? Eh? Need to respond? Well, no. I guess we could throw you in jail or something, but... Actually, I'm more interested in what I'm actually responding to. This accusation is a bit sudden, you know? Do you know what exactly is being stacked against me here? I mean, I'm clearly the obvious culprit here. Don't want to slip up or anything. But I guess I do have my own thoughts on the situation. One which I would like to present in the form of a perfectly cross-examinable testimony, if possible. Testimony? Consider it my rebuttal to whatever Mr. Justice's theory happens to be so far. Alright, let's go. Das Spiel hat begonnen. Oh, hello. Owning the same nail polish does not a murderer make. I have been in solitary confinement for half a year. How could I poison her? Her father died of the same poison, the meaning of which should be clear. The prosecution's case holds. She poisoned her father, then attempted to poison herself. Objection! What the hell? Aha, now there's a reaction I wanted to see. What did you... How did you... Oh, I've been reading some ancient case files. I ended up memorizing a few testimonies. Hope you don't mind. I can't even. Oh, come on, you can't really hold it against me for doing my homework. What, you thought I was just going to stand by and let you play your game? Come on, Apollo, the game's no fun if you catch your opponent off his guard. Well, actually, it is. But not if it's me. The world is just one big jungle, Apollo. And in its deepest parts, every animal fights for their own life. She might just be my favorite character in this case. Those who battle do so with everything they've got. It's just a matter of who catches who first. And here he goes with the silent treatment again. Jeez, I didn't think you were this much of a child. How much is ignoring me going to actually help? You won't win this much by trying to pretend like I'm not talking to you. The droid needs to hear you, sweetie. You called me here. Unless you step up, you will fall right back where you started. You may not like me, but that shouldn't give you an excuse to be a coward about it. It should drive you and push you forward. Apollo. Apollo, what are you doing, buddy? Do you remember what I told you once? There is no room for weakness in this court. So fight me like a man. Even now, she's humiliating me, dragging me through the dirt. As always, though, the saddest part is that she has a point. Being quiet won't work anymore. It's time to fight back against this demon and send her where she belongs. Athena Sykes. Present. Defense hereby indicts you on the charge of murder. Got it. It's our belief that on the night of the murder, you got into the bedroom on the other wing of the mansion with a gun you brought with you, and waited for a chance for the victim to come outside through the study balcony. This opportunity presented itself during the victim's struggle with my client, Mr. Marston. I understood it. During this time, a shot was misfired by the defendant. He fainted. The victim, when he saw the defendant was on the floor, headed for the balcony, where he was met by your own bullet. Love it. Disposed of your murder weapon, and headed for the study, since that's where the other guests would have been hiding. After all, at this time, the only shot they'd heard was the one fired in the actual study. You managed to hear the shot too, obviously, so you realized it was the perfect chance to cover up your own crime. These are the charges against you. How do you respond to them? I'm innocent, of course. Thinking that Edgeworth is right that there are obvious holes in here. Number one, what would the true killer have done if Marston had actually killed the victim? Like, they heard a gunshot, went out to the balcony, and nothing happened because Arthur was dead. That would have been awkward. And you, Apollo, on the other hand, are deluded. Unreasonable accusations. First off, I'm not even sure why I'm here. Your theory relies on the fact Mr. Marston misses the victim, but what if he did? Thank you, Athena. You're absolutely right. I also have to wonder why me specifically. Don't you have two other possible suspects? Putting that aside, what about the bedroom? Is there any proof someone was at that balcony? I'm just failing to see your reasoning. She's not wrong. A valid point. None of the evidence I've seen so far actually incriminates Miss Sykes. Really? Then why'd you let him accuse me in the first place, genius? Section 781 of the 2025 redaction of Japan and California Criminal Court Law says, no accusation can be made without evidence. I had no intention of letting justice slip past the law, if that's what you're implying. I merely imagine, considering the reputation you recently gained, that you might wish to testify on your own behalf. I take it that a lawyer such as yourself would know how to deal with this type of situation. You actually flatter me, Edgeworth. Bravo. You can learn something from this man, Apollo. The defense wishes to commence its cross-examination. Damn it, Apollo. What did I just say about facing me head-on? I don't need to indulge you in your pointless little provocations. I don't speak unless you're spoken to. Apollo, this case, did you take it because of... Yeah, looking like that. You were one of the guests at the party. So? Look, I'm not saying I wasn't. I just don't get why you're targeting me specifically here. Again, she has a point, Justice. None of the evidence suggests that she had anything to do with the actual murder. And for apparently such a complex plan, that's extremely hard to believe. True. There's no actual evidence tying her to the scene here. Evidence is the only thing you can bypass, you can base your arguments on. Is there something that makes it perfectly reasonable to assume she didn't? No. Guess not. We'll come back to that. There might be something we can do. I just proved it couldn't have happened that way. No, Apollo, you really didn't. Your defendant could have been mistaken. As simple as that. Get over that. That doesn't make sense to begin with. Not unless you want to disprove Mr. Marston's entire confession. I don't care about the confession, Apollo. I care about me. To maintain my innocence as much as possible, I claim that he was mistaken. No, he wasn't. Care to put your money or evidence where your mouth is then? Oh, we could raise or fold. I fold. I know it's true. But you're right, I don't have the evidence to prove it. What a shame. It's a difference. Which is? I'd like to note that they probably didn't kill anyone is not a valid response to that question. They're something which makes them different from you. I think that at the at least at this time, makes them above suspicion. Wait, for reals? Don't... Oh, shizzle! Nah, I got nothing. Good for you, being honest like that. Although... Are we going to use her past acquittal against her in this case? Is that the solution here? There's a chance that the culprit took care of the remaining evidence himself. Oh, sure. By that logic, Santa Claus did it. He just took all the evidence. That rat bastard. Again, she brings up a valid point, Justice. You haven't presented any proof suggesting your own theory, for that matter. It's logical. Logic implies that conclusions were made from some kind of established facts. By your logic, a sniper could be the culprit here as well. That is, unless you do have some kind of proof. The bedroom was searched, and no conclusive evidence was discovered in it. Is she trying to tell me something? I'm just failing to see your reasoning. My argument is simple. Hell it is! You do realize that this is just the beginning, right? The simple fact of the matter is that your theory has other holes. If you happen to be too blind to see them, that's your own fault. You haven't answered my question. Is she the reason you took this case? Alright, Apollo. Stay cool and think. It's basically saying that I have no grounds to accuse her of pulling off this trick. Of course, there can't be anything physically proving she did it. After all, chances are the culprit got rid of all the evidence he could have left behind. Maybe I can find a way to claim that my accusation is reasonable without proof. I should think like a prosecutor. I was trying to convict her. What would I use here? Apollo! Maybe showing she could have done this enough. I guess let's try going back into here. Presenting her profile. Real faux shizzle? Yeah, there's one hell of a difference between you and them. Okay, yep. Alright. You want a reason? Give you a reason. It's you. So it is about that. Hold it! This is how one deals with his former clients, Justice. Clear her of one murder, accuse her of another. The fact that she's the only person here that happened to be accused in a murder trial does not. Objection! I don't think you're giving me enough credit here, Mr. Edgeworth. So it doesn't matter what she's done before. I wonder about that. Yeah, you are lying like a dog. What matters is what she hasn't done here. What? I think the easier question you could have asked me, Miss Sykes, is... why wouldn't I accuse you, given the facts I have to work with? Eh? Oh? You were the third guest at Mr. Art's mansion, making the total of people at the scene 5, including Mr. Art's. So far, we've heard from 3 people. First was Detective Mary Adair. During her testimony, there was nothing that suggested she had anything to do with the actual crime. While she admitted to knowing the victim as well, there was nothing pointing to a motive. Her story matched the evidence. In fact, she was the person who described the victim's wounds to us. It's thanks to her insight that I've come to form this accusation in the first place. Hence, I must assume that she was telling the truth. And naturally, for prosecution to have a stronger case against my client, so do they. If nothing else, the fact that she's a detective should give her some credibility. You are putting her over mighty big here, dude. And being a defense attorney doesn't. Let me finish. Next was Mr. Edmund Smith, the victim's butler. Not exactly someone I'd sit down and have coffee with, but he was one of the last people to see the victim alive. Again, no actual contradictions were found in his testimony. What gave Mr. Smith somewhat more credibility, however, was the defendant, Mr. Marston. And looking at these 2 testimonies, the butler's statement makes perfect sense. Naturally, the defendant's statement should be considered as truthful for obvious reasons. Now, there's a reason why I bring up the word credibility here. In truth, all these people's testimonies match with the evidence. None of them actually saw each other up until the moment they all gathered around the study. In other words, they don't really have an airtight alibi. So all we have of their credibility is their word. Now here's the thing. Listen to all these testimonies and, as I've just stated, failed to find a contradiction. Hence I must assume they are all truthful. In order for the prosecution's case to hold, they need to be truthful from their side as well. But you see, Miss Sykes, the fact is there was one more person at the mansion that night. A person who was yet to testify about their movements on the night of the crime. A person who, if we assume all the other witnesses are telling the truth, and again, they have to be for this case to even stand in court, it's the only logical suspect. That's you, Athena Sykes. Well, I'll be... Objection! Preposterous! Your accusation accounts to she's the only one I can accuse, so she must be guilty. I've already proven that the murder couldn't have happened the way you claim it did. In turn, I've provided a solution that supports all the established facts. Facts based on the witnesses we've heard from. As far as the defense is concerned, Miss Sykes has no alibi for the crime of the time of the murder. You disappoint me greatly, Apollo. I was expecting some kind of incredibly convenient piece of evidence that made me look bad. I mean, come on. Your logic's basically nothing more than process of elimination, correct? I don't know what she was doing, but all the other people were probably telling the truth. And she's obviously guilty. As I already said, the witnesses' testimonies do not contradict evidence. What if mine doesn't either? Well then, of course I must be lying. Give me a break. The fact that Adair gave you one fact truthfully doesn't make her whole statement untouchable. And the fact that she's a detective? So what? Hello? Who's the defendant here again? But unlike you, we still know her movements during the night. The fact is, this trial was going to end. We would have never even heard your testimony. Oh. So you decided to accuse me just so you could hear my angelic voice. Well, if you insist. That basis again holds up like an ice. A freaking fireplace. Are you saying you're refusing to testify? I very well could. Ladies and gentlemen of this jury, it is clear that Mr. Justice has a bias against me. The fact that he is considering me as a culprit without solid proof is simply unacceptable. There's nothing tying me to the scene. There's nothing even proving this possibility of his... my defendant's testimony. Sniper did it. Actually, I've got no proof, but Ooh, what's that? You don't have any either? Come on, Apollo, think logically. You don't even have a motive for crying out loud.
Gotcha!
What? Now that is a lie. Really? No motive, you say? Miss Sykes, it's impossible you didn't have one. Invitation?
Take that!
After all, according to the victim, you did have one. In fact, all three of you did. Miss Adair's, as she claims, is just a misunderstanding made by the victim. Possible lie, naturally, but still something to keep in mind. Mr. Marston also apparently had a reason strong enough to kill over. And he planned to kill the victim. So what about you, Miss Sykes? Had any murderous intentions recently?
Objection!
You're again assuming that Miss Adair is telling the truth.
Objection!
We're not talking about Mary. We're talking about you. You claimed you had no motive. The very reason you were supposed to be there was because you had a motive. I don't think the victim was mistaken or lying, so I think it's a fair assumption to say you just lied. Interesting. I didn't even need to hear your testimony to know you're no longer in the same category as the others. He does have a point. By the way, what was your relation to the victim again? Sorry, your angelic voice must have slipped right past me on that one. Irrelevant. Oh, hiding facts from the court, are we now? Members of the jury, I remind you that she claims she was above suspicion.
Objection!
Now you're just having a pissing match at each other. So what? I don't have the right to my own privacy anymore. Not when I can take advantage of it, you don't. That's concerning. It's nothing to do with the murder. But your justice still brings a good point. Did you or did you not have a motive for killing the victim? Oh, Apollo, you magnificent bastard. Got me good. Nobody likes an overconfident villain, you know. Villain? We really could have a discussion all over again about that, but no, I didn't lie. I really had no reason to kill him. We'd met once, but there was a misunderstanding. He thought I hated him. End of story.
Objection!
You're just regurgitating the Mary point, but just repeated what Mary said. Yeah, I guess I did. What can I say? The man had a gift for misunderstandings. It actually sounded way better in my head. Damn. Okay, fine. You win. Guess my charms aren't enough to prove my perfect innocence anymore. Charms. You're on, Apollo. I'll testify about what I was doing when the gunshot happened. Won't help you much, though. It's useless, don't you see? Useless? You can claim I was on the moon when it happened and you'd still have a hard time disproving it. Try me. Don't say I didn't warn you. You won't win anything by doing things this way. Alright, what you got for me? After we all split up, I decided to explore the mansion a bit. I ended up in the upper right wing, not the one you were accusing me of being on. Noticed the study door and thought I'd maybe sneak in, see what old Mr. Arns was hiding. But it was locked. I then checked the other doors and realized that the guest room was unlocked. I entered it just to see how it looked. Before I could even do anything, I heard the gunshot and ran outside. Simple enough. Get it? This is basically the devil's proof. Can't prove this is what happened, but you can't disprove it either. You want to know why? Want to know why you can't do that? Because he screwed you over. Because he screwed you over. Wrong voice. Excuse me? Never presented any evidence regarding the things outside the study. was so convinced that Marston's confession would lock him in for a win. He never even bothered to even check alternate possibilities, I bet. But I guess something similar can be said about someone else in this room, couldn't it? Paulo?
Objection!
Miss Sykes, I advise you not to comment on something you have no actual knowledge on. The police and the prosecutor's office have done their job, and they've done it properly. They provided evidence sufficient to proving the defendant's guilt. The fact that we did not consider anything outside of the actual study relevant should perhaps suggest that nothing actually happened outside the study. Regardless, the burden of proof lies with the defense. You cannot blame us for the fact that he cannot prove you wrong. Not that it makes any difference to begin with.
Objection!
I don't think it's fair to say you've done a good job. The fact that you've decided to go to trial with one huge unanswered question would have told you that much. The issue has already been clarified. Yeah, sure it has. Because if someone managed to get into a perfectly sealed room, it means that the same trick couldn't have been applied for the actual time of the murder. Why were you the chief prosecutor again? Ooh, cold. How dare you! Meanwhile, while you picked only the bits and pieces of information that's good for you, because let's face it, making this a fair trial would have been just silly. That poor guy's left hanging. What's he gonna do? Your precious evidence law makes it impossible for him to present any new facts of his own. Heck, when you get down to it, you've made the situation practically impossible to win for him.
Objection!
I really like this, Athena. Don't underestimate me. I'm not some whiny brat that breaks down when things just don't go his way. People adapt to the situation, Sykes. It's the way we work. Agreed, I have an issue with the way this investigation was handled. And better than to slander people doing their job. I claim you're the culprit, and sooner or later the evidence will speak. Maybe I can't prove it now, but you're forgetting one important thing. The jury's watching. As long as I can show here that you could have done it, they will have enough doubt in their minds to allow for another day of investigation. And then, we'll know where to look. We will find the missing pieces. With them, the undeniable truth. You told me once that I have misconceptions about the world around me. Seems like I'm not the only one, because you've made a huge one about me. I'm no rookie anymore, Sykes. After everything I've realized from watching you, I know why I'm here. Reasons might be wrong and twisted at this point, but I know what I'm doing is right. And just when I was trying to fight for your side, you don't fight for anyone but yourself. Frankly, I know how to fight for my own battles at this point. That tone. Never seen him talk like that. Finally striking back. Interesting. I've had doubts. I know that deep down I might be weak. I know that I might have gotten into a mess I'll never be able to get out of. But now, I know that I'm no longer the one in the wrong, Sykes. Okay, everyone settle down and make less roundabout points. The person will come out of this battlefield victorious. Uh-oh. Could be that he actually... Mr. Justice, will be... Commence your cross-examination. Me. Alright. Let's do this. Why didn't you just bother waiting for Mr. Arts? All the things you could have asked me. Isn't it obvious? Everyone had wandered off. What was I gonna do? Sit quietly on the sofa? A woman of action, Apollo. Most of your actions result with people getting pissed off. And no, I didn't happen to cross paths with anyone else until the actual gunshot. I wonder where Mary was all that time. Hey, come on, just saying. I'm not the only person that fits in with your theory, after all. And again, considering where I was, I wonder how I can fit into it anyways. Guess I can't ask you to prove that. You could try. If you'll be able to guess my answer. Alright then. Did you happen to see anything on your way there? Notice anything in general? Why would you ask me that? According to you, I'm a killer, and so of course I'd avoid answering that question truthfully. And if you aren't, you could mention something that could help proving your statement truthful. Give you information that you could use against me later on. Come on, Apollo, I'm not stupid. Self-incrimination is a term any defense attorney should be familiar with. Are you saying that the answer to this question is going to be a lie no matter what, then? Not at all. I'm not sure what your thinking process behind asking it was, that's all. That doesn't make you mad, does it? Just answer the question. Okay, Apollo. No, I didn't notice anything strange on my way to the upper floor. Wouldn't you have noticed them... Wouldn't you have noticed them going to the study? Are you sure about that? Oh, well, relatively. And again, could always be a lie on my part, but... Guess you'd have to prove that, wouldn't you? Sykes, how'd you know where the study was? So how'd you know that door was to the study? But to be fair, I didn't really. It was the only door on that side of the hallway. I remember that when I was entering the mansion, I saw 2 balconies. Basic logic dictated that was the room in question. It had a balcony, it must have been a bedroom, I figured. And bedrooms are like a goldmine for getting dirt on someone. Putting aside why you'd have to desire to go through other people's belongings, this line of thought sounds quite similar to the one the defendant used. He too made that same assumption. Hence he didn't go for the door at all. He decided to wait for Mr. Arts to come to him in a place Arts probably would have felt the safest. Well, I don't see how after calling the people that you'd probably want to chop off your, Mr. Strudelhead, you'd really be safe. It was just a way of phrasing it, Your Honor. If Mr. Arts were truly worried about his safety, chances are he wouldn't have hosted this social gathering to begin with. Getting back on topic, you're saying you were basically just guessing that something important was there. Are you... doubting me? I still stand by what I said, you know? You're not going to prove my guilt this way. That's what you're still doing, right? That would have been due to the auto lock, right? How should I know? It's logical, yeah, but I'm not the one that actually bothered to check the thing. And it's always possible the butler was lying, but... I'd appreciate it if you didn't make those kinds of remarks without proof. Fine, whatever. Retracted. I was just trying to answer Apollo's question. Seriously, you believe this guy, Apollo? To be fair, I guess that was more of a statement than an actual question. In any case, at that point in time, do you think the defendant made it into the room? Well, that I can say most likely. Yes, I can. See, when I'm supporting his case, I can speculate. Yeah. You were that determined to take up something on Arts. I'd say bored is a better way to put it. I mean, it was a pretty lame-ass party. Well, up until the gunshot. Oh, whoops. Just admitted that I found the murder interesting. Clearly I must be a psycho. Oh, how I have undone myself. Your completely unfounded accusation turned out to be truthful. Quick, cuff me! Witness is attempting to mock the defense, Your Honor. What? She just has no restraint, does she? No restraint and no filter, and I love it. How did it look? Want a super detailed sketch? No. Just describe it. Your Honor. The prosecution sees no relevance between the guest room and the actual crime. What? What are you doing, Edgeworth? But unless we hear what it looks like, we won't know if it's relevant. In fact, wouldn't Miss Sykes' description of the guest room help prove her story is truthful? Not really. I mean, I could have seen how it looked sometime after the crime. You aren't really helping yourself here, Miss Sykes. I'm not to give hope where there is none, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm just saying that if I was the culprit, that this was the story I was trying to make up. I think I would have probably been smart enough to get the basic details down. Then I imagine you wouldn't have any trouble doing it right now. Bed, red sheets, window, dresser, purple carpet, curtains with a flower pattern. Apollo sucks. I can confirm the description is fairly accurate, especially the last part. However, additionally, I'd like to point out that your theory relies on a room on the other wing. Where exactly does the guest room come into question? Alright, moving along. And what happened then? What do you mean? I mean the standard stuff. We all gathered around that door, saw the chain, broke it down. Yeah, I know how it goes by now. And yet you always ask. Every possibility needs to be explored. Every possibility needs to be proven. Which you have yet to do. Are you starting to see what I mean? You're going about this the wrong way. And which way should I go, oh great Sykes? I don't know. How about something a bit more sensible? I mean, you aren't gonna disprove my story. How long can you actually go around in circles, Justice? Your point of the defendant possibly missing might be valid. For now, at least. What proof do you intend to use to prove your theory to the jury? Well, this would be the first step. If I was trying to prove Sykes guilty, I'd start with finding a way to see if her testimony can logically be proven true by something. Working backwards, if it can be proven true by this, then it can also be proven false. Basically, that can maybe present a method in which her testimony can be proven. Maybe? Then if it doesn't work, it would stand to reason she's lying. How would I go about doing that? I feel like this is an obvious place to present one of the people she should have seen there? Maybe? Like the butler?
Objection!
Butler. Nothing strange. That can't be true, Miss Sykes. After all, if your story is to be believed, then there is something strange. You should have seen it around that point in time. It was the victim and his butler going to the study.
Objection!
I'm not really sure how you came up with that stunning conclusion, but they didn't have to see anything. Come on, use your head, Apollo. Butler never said when he and Arts had that little episode. Fact is, I didn't see anyone in that hallway. Now, of course, there's a possibility that the butler lied, but I have a feeling you have a bit of a bias towards my own answers to certain questions, so let's think logically. There are two explanations that come to mind to clear this up. One, Arts entered the study before I came upstairs. Or two, they happened to go right past me while I was in the guest room. After all, I doubt it would have been taken that long for everything to play out. Arts gets in, then he and Marston slap each other around a little bit before the bang. Really, it could have all went down in less than 2 minutes. The first possibility doesn't work. If that was the case, she still should have seen someone else in the hallway. Someone else? It's simple when you take into account everything you've heard. I suppose it doesn't matter. She still has that other possibility. Mr. Wright? Seeing as how Mr. Justice has no response to this explanation. So, I guess we're going back to the testimony. Of course we are. Apollo still has that fiery look in his eyes. Okay. Guess from the actual crime? Is this the other point you should have seen someone? Okay. One more combo. The butler. Never in my life have I actually wanted someone to be as spiteful and deceitful as you. Possible to confirm or deny your story, huh? Come on. We both know that's not true. Oh, we do? But then surely I would have come up with a more convincing lie. I'm sorry. I want her to pay for what she's done. I really do. But doing it like that wouldn't be right. According to you, you ran out of the room right after hearing the gunshot. Is that correct? Yep. Good. Your Honor, the defense would like to draw your attention to Mr. Smith's testimony. According to him, the gunshot happened shortly after letting Mr. Arts into the study. As such, he probably never got that far from the door. Heck, he probably didn't even manage to reach the stairs. So, the gunshot occurred. If he is telling you the truth, if he truly ran out of that guest room, then he should have seen you. If he didn't, then I guess I'm a liar. You already are one. Not in this particular case. He's back. Well then, I believe you've been following the trial to this point. Yes, I have. Then I believe the question should be obvious. Did you or did you not see Miss Athena Sykes run out of the guest room after the gunshot? Go on, Mr. Smith. The truth will set you free, you know. The truth, huh? Alright then. Well, that's suspicious. Want the truth? I'll spell it out to you. She was there. She ran right out of that room, mates. And there you go. Can't be culprit of this case. As I said, the Justice's theory was completely unfounded. But hey, he never does listen, does he? Sorry, Mr. Lawyer. Guess the cards were just stacked against you today. Well, Apollo, what will you do now? How far are you willing to go to catch this woman? If it means that a more reasonable culprit could get away. So what now, Justice? Your theory has just become impossible. That is. Unless you're going to suggest that Mr. Smith's testimony is unreliable as well. Apollo. I want you to answer my question now. This case, did you take it because of that woman? Is that why I'm here? Justify some kind of revenge scheme? I think you owe the man an answer. Is that the mistake that you're willing to do? Is that what you want me to understand? You knew basically nothing about this case when you took it. That much I was able to tell myself. And yet when the moment came to accuse someone, despite the fact that there were probably a million different possibilities at the time, you immediately accused her. Why? Has the law come to mean so little that we can just use it to satisfy our own desires? Do you think if you convict her of this murder, she'll be punished for the one before? Regardless if she's actually guilty. What kind of justice is that? I see nothing funny about it, Apollo. But I do. It's the first time I've seen you serious and wrong at the same time. Hmm? You assume too much about me. I might be a brat, I might be an idiot. I know who I am. We've come this far and we haven't even gotten the full flashback yet? Look, is this about the Sykes case? Well, okay, yeah, it obviously is. But, don't you think it's been long enough? At least, talk to someone. Talk to me, jeez. We can work together to sort this out. I know we can. Isolating yourself from others isn't going to achieve anything here. Look, call me, okay? Bargaining. Not gonna lie, I've done a lot of arguably idiotic things in my life. Forging my school report card, shaving my head, getting a tattoo. Embarrassed myself in court more than once. I think that actually bothering to pick up the phone today. Not even checking to see who it is. Responding to her of all people like coming here. What? Or just downright stupid of me. Well. You actually showed up. Respect. What's this about? Hey, calm down. Forgive me if that's not the easiest thing to do when you're around. For your information, people enjoy my company. People that don't know you. Apollo, come meet me in court, please. You'll stand at the defense's stand, and I'll stand at the witness stand for old time's sake. I joke about that, but that could actually be this universe is Athena's justification for this. And I'd like it. And you do? Well, enough that I can see the real Athena Sykes. Not the facade you've built around yourself. I don't think you're in any position to claim that you know the real me. The real you is a murdering, lying, mocking woman with no morals. Again, 2 days, ladies and gentlemen. Look, what do you want? I've had enough about arguing about the things I see. And you do see a lot, don't you? More than you can imagine. And yet, at the same time, I can't seem to look past what I've done. Nobody will ever look past that. But it all depends on how you choose to look at it. You still don't know my reasons for doing it. How many times are we going to have this discussion? As long as you're mad. Why do you care so much about what I think about you anyways? I have a super crush on you? Well, fine, be that way. This is a waste of time. I'm going.
Objection!
And why are you so determined to hate me? I want to know. Isn't it obvious? Lied, manipulated, and stop lying to yourself, Apollo. What? You know, I don't think this has anything to do with me or what I've done. I think it's your pride and your beliefs that are damaged here. I was just a catalyst that set it all off. Tell me, how did you feel standing here? Was this a therapy session? Yeah, I mean, you kind of need one. Maybe this Athena is not the best one to do it for you, but you really could stand to... Yeah.